Hey guys, it's Matt. I don't know about you, but this is what I feel like these days. Have you seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers recently? If you haven't seen, what is it, 1979, go back and see it. It is literally what we're going through today. Donald Sutherland, I guess, was the last one here snatched. I saw recently Goldblum, The Fly, which is a pretty interesting movie. He doesn't realize at this moment in the movie, or if he was in our reality in 2023, Jeff Goldblum would be better off becoming The Fly than going through what we're going through right now. Thanks to Doc Holliday for creating this in the style of Notnilc. What in the style of Got Milk? Is that still around, that campaign? It was huge in the 90s, I think it was. Got Milk, same font. It's not Nilc in the same sort of font. The main purpose of this video is to read a section of the book. See if you like it. If you don't like it, I'll remove it from the book. I created an analogy between a fraternity house, a very dark and evil fraternity house that has a certain intention for its members and its brotherhood, and the Notnilc, and the asshole dark, and the ass crack. I'm trying to create an analogy. There's a point in the book where I thought, if anybody hasn't been with us for 3 to 5 years at least, they're going to, Matt, who's going to read the book other than us anyway? I hear you, but I put, a part in the book where basically somebody asks, come on, what are you talking about, this dark part of reality that nobody can really point at? And I can't explain it other than to make an analogy. So I'm going to read that analogy. Probably will take about 12 to 15 minutes. And see if you like it. Tell me if you think it should stay in the book or if, it just doesn't work. Guys, just wanted to pop in for a minute before starting the analogy. I'm also going to show you the cat that I trapped that's in my garage right now. I believe it is feral. It's pretty nasty. I'll ask you in the cat section what to do about it. But you know what happened to Puss in Boots. 4 cats went down to 2. My life regarding cat duties gets back to normal to a degree. Everybody uses the litter box now. And here's this cat that's now feral. And I trapped it. And I put it in a bigger cage. And it's in my garage. And I don't know what to do about it. I'll ask. Maybe I'll do the cat. I'll show you a picture of it. But then at the end, we'll do the cat section if you want to hang out and help me with that. Also wanted to talk to the moron that left the comment. And it's a comment that I get every so often, so I wanted to address it. And I shouldn't let stuff like this get under my skin. But the moron's comment was, we haven't seen Matt in a while. I'm pretty convinced that there is nobody behind this voice, and it's Chat GTP. Or what? Why does this? I've been here via this channel and the other channel for 14 years. My address here, my name is Matt McKinley. I'm on public record. Do you think like the deep state inserted me here 20 years ago? I mean, go to the temp agency down here that basically wouldn't return my call. Guys, well, Matt, you could be coming to us right now from a green screen, and you know the sophistication of the AI. Morons, why are you even here if you think this is some sort of max headroom? And it's not a real person. And here's the funny thing. The ultimate point is, listen to what's said. What is said will either resonate or it won't. As I've said, I'm not telling you I'm not teaching you anything. I'm trying to bring out of all of us what we already know. Truths are hidden inside of us. What's the difference? Who I am. Just listen to what's being said. All right, let me read about 2.5 pages here. Still a work in progress. And guys, I guess if you like it, no reason to say anything. I probably favor to keep it in the book. If you don't like it, or it's just total horse shit, tell me it's horse shit, and I'll think about removing it. But I don't know, it has to, you guys understand what Notnilc is, but boy, that's a hard concept to get across to people. So let's just see if I can get in the ballpark here. It says, Matt, this maybe comes a third of the way into the book, and I'm trying my best to keep it under 100 pages. I thought initially under 50. I just can't do it. Matt, I still don't understand. What is this unseen bad guy in the shadows you keep talking about if it's not people? What is this screen, this Notnilc, this asshole dark? Okay, here's a very simple example that may be able to assist anybody new. Let's say there's a certain fraternity on a college campus. But this one was originally founded in order to corrupt its members. It was actually designed to bring down its own fraternity brothers. Bad grades and, quote, failing out is the easiest way for it to accomplish its goals. If it can put others in jail or destroy relationships, well, it likes that too. Again, this is the frat's sole purpose, to bring down its own members. Of course, to the community, the fraternity puts on a good face, the face of an upstanding citizen like Bernie Madoff, the Gates Foundation, and all the rest of those that say they're doing good. The frat would announce itself to be a loving member of society and to the Greek Brotherhood. The brothers proudly wear their sweatshirt around campus with 3 big letters sewn onto the chest. Nu Omicron Tau. The students simply call it NOT. Just for the record, there is no chapter of Lambda 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 on this campus. In this analogy to come, the fraternity is the Notnilc. How would the fraternity, accomplish its goals if this was its dark mission, to corrupt its own members? Of course, it would start with what is easiest, distraction. It would be known as the biggest party house in the country. It offers every temptation in the world, so kids do everything but study their class materials and get good grades. It has 70-inch televisions in every room, and PlayStation alternates with Xbox under each one of them. There's a line of beer refrigerators downstairs next to the game room that somehow are always stocked full of beer. Somehow nobody ever sees the delivery people. Like clockwork, there seems to be a big party before the most important final exams take place. Why the party is not at the end of finals week is never questioned by the members. Its interior design is professional, and every sorority girl loves to come over and marvel over the beauty of the place, its vaulted ceilings, and its mix of modern conveniences and old-world architecture. It's rumored the founders of the frat had an obscene amount of money, and the current brotherhood figures there's some sort of endowment or some sort of trust that pays all the bills, that pays the electric bill, the taxes, and everything else that the brothers don't have to pay. When the 20-foot-long hot tub breaks, somebody magically is there in the morning to fix it. Nobody ever sees a bill. The indoor pool is lined with a rare stone that never seems to need cleaning, and the diving board moves electronically up to 10 feet or as desired. Every month, a photographer of some kind shows up to take pictures of the place for a long list of publications. The brothers stopped caring about that sort of attention years ago. If some sort of press or reporter shows up, it's now commonplace. 4 pledges are trained to give the same tour over and over again. Now, think of this frat house like the Event Horizon ship in the movie Event Horizon. In a way, the frat itself has become an egregore, and somehow it can influence those members who have embraced it the most. In other words, it possesses a degree of control over the brothers who are in love with it, and love the lifestyle and prestige the house provides them. Via the Greek letters Nu Omicron Tau, it was given a name a long time ago, and like a living entity, has garnered its own reputation over time. It's found a way to draw energy from every party that takes place, and has techniques to siphon louche from every brother and guest alike. 100 years ago, it didn't have many tools to work with, and it was far less powerful. It struggled to perform its mission, and was only marginally successful. Today, electricity flows to 500 electric sockets, and 20 5G Wi-Fi routers connect hundreds of devices that the brothers plug in daily. It has learned to access the internet itself, where it links to other egregores that have similar missions. Even though the founding members of the frat are long gone, 100 years later, it has become extremely successful in fulfilling its mission and corrupting students year after year, generation after generation. The partying never stops. Pushed on by idiotic TV shows like Ridiculousness, the legendary stunts of the students have to get more and more outrageous as the pledge classes come through year after year. Every 2 years, it seems like a man like Otter from the movie Animal House is elected president, so the climate of the frat never changes. Every semester, about the same percentage of brothers fail out and leave school, replaced by the next pledge class, with each new member considering themselves extremely lucky to be selected. "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" One pledge last semester was given the Nu Omicron Tau name of Flounder. The fraternity brothers never change their ways. The allure of being part of the famous house is too strong, for it's not just legendary on its own campus, it's known by every Greek organization in the world. It's now 2023, and the frat has perfected its craft over time. Last month, 7 students flunked out, 2 were arrested, and 1 jumped off the roof. The frat's been investigated by the university and by various levels of law enforcement. It's been studied by other universities to understand why so many of the initial pledges fail to graduate. No matter how bad it gets, the frat, graduates just enough brothers to put forth its Goldilocks position, where no one can be sure that there is any sort of underlying problem other than lack of discipline in the brothers. Of course, every pledge is smart. The standards to get in were arbitrarily set even higher last year than by the university itself to end the abysmal failure rate. But the statistics never improve. The new pledges have all heard the rumors about how so many drop out, but they tell themselves, that won't be me. The prestige and celebrity of the place takes precedence over the risks. Like the dark part of reality itself, there is no bad guy to point at. There is no person to step forward in a police lineup. There is no obvious culprit or reason why so many brothers are having their lives destroyed before graduation. There are never any clues for Sherlock Holmes to find. The brothers who don't fail out are loving life, and their grades are decent. 1 or 2 of them are always getting straight A's. How is this happening? The current president of the fraternity is not getting secret orders or strategies on how to corrupt his own brothers that he loves. If placed on a lie detector test, he'd pass with flying colors, saying he's doing what he thinks is best. He simply believes he's following the traditions that made the place famous. He won't ban parties or lock the place down. He believes in personal responsibility. Who wouldn't? The president can maintain his B average, so why can't the others, he says. It's their problem, not his. He won't turn the place into a nunnery. I had to pause and look. I was like, what is that from? Get ye thee to a nunnery, Hamlet. It's from Hamlet and talking to Ophelia. The Laurence Olivier version of Hamlet, by the way, old black and white, is amazing. It really is great. Sorry. In this strange example, the frat is the screen, the Notnilc, the asshole dark, or as mentioned, the Event Horizon ship. In the movie, the Event Horizon influenced certain crew members to get what it wanted. It needed a crew. The ship acted like it was alive in some way. The people it could not recruit to help it terrified, like it did to the fat version of Lawrence Fishburne, so they would no longer be a threat and want to leave. Unlike the spaceship, though, the frat does not knock off its own brothers who are no longer in love with the house, no longer bowing down to the lifestyle that the house promotes. Lest we forget, this is a college. The frat need only make sure that they fail classes to get rid of them. In this example, the frat is the dark part of reality. At the metaphysical level, it is the Notnilc. They are one and the same. In the movie, Lawrence Fishburne says to Stark, "What are you saying, that this ship is alive?" Yes, in a way the ship was alive via the energies it brought back from hell and the alternate dimensions it had visited using its gravity drive to fold time and space and wherever the event horizon went in the movie. In a way, by some definition, it was alive. Okay, that's the point. The dark reality, in a way, draws energy in a similar fashion as the event horizon does, and uses the energy it collects similarly to how the fraternity does in how it can distract and corrupt real people. The energy the frat obtains is from its own membership and party guests. Likewise, the energy the screen reality draws forth, the dark part of reality, comes from a massive populace that willingly chooses to engage in society and the culture that it puts forth. And of course, this Notnilc has a million ways to draw forth and collect up the type of energy and attention that it wants via the whole breadth of society and culture. The frat and this dark thing in reality both act like egregores, and both are, in a way, alive, using a very limited definition. Again, I don't want real people to make that wooden damn thing real boy Pinocchio. It acts like it's alive. It is not alive, in my opinion. It is not even sentient the way you are. It has no spiritual connection out of here. Okay, make sure if we think of it as alive in terms of understanding it, you then use your mental imagery to limit it. Limit it on the back end. I'm not reading. Now I'll start reading again. This dark part of reality over the game board, over the natural world, uses the tools that it has access to in each era of history in which it operates. Quite obviously, Notnilc has used the internet age to exponentially increase its reach and its capabilities millions of times over from what existed just 40 years ago. Like the frat, this dark reality has one goal, but not for its brothers, for real people here that have spiritual ties outside of this place. All right, guys, I don't think I'm going to read anymore. There's really not too much more about the frat. I start talking about what's potentially the real meaning behind movies like Jurassic Park. What do the dinosaurs represent? Trying to see different layers of meaning in different works of art. But if that, to somebody new, that's still going to be a little bit difficult, what was just presented. If they had a book in front of them, maybe they could read it a few times and it would become more clear. If that was all confusing, there's a few pages in the book, but I'm about 80% done, maybe 90%. Definitely needs a few more weeks at least to clean up. Probably will 3 as usual turns to 5, etc. But there's not too much left. I think it'll help to break down the potential component parts of this reality system, whatever you want to call it, this earth reality that we're in. The component parts, if you understand them, helps put everything together. I'm sure the old guard knows what I'm about to say, but let's just do a few minutes here. It might be interesting and might help some people. And again, I'm presenting this. Matt, you're presenting this like it's completely accurate. Well, do I have to keep saying it's my opinion? Of course it's my opinion. But it's not just me. My research has lined up with hundreds of people that are smarter than I am in certain areas. And if I was getting a piece of this wrong, somebody really smart would have come to me and said, Matt, this is all wrong. And it hasn't happened, at least from the group that I trust, since we've been putting this together and trying to better understand this Notnilc. So to me, there are 5 potential component parts to this entire reality system. The game board, the game where it's all played, the natural world, what you call the earth, the air, the sky, the oceans, whatever. We'll come back and look at each one in a little more detail. That's number 1. Very neutral. The natural world can be very harsh and brutal, but it can also be incredibly amazing. And it's the natural world is, and maybe the game board is where the heaven and hell both creep into this place. This place is a merger of heaven and hell. The truth is that say it's all hell are out of their minds. They should stop and look around and smell the roses a bit. The second element, real people. That's you and me. How many are there of us? We don't. How many of us are there? We don't know. It could be a limited solipsism, a very small group, 144,000. It could be a billion. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with your personal worry about yourself journey to try to figure out how many others. We know there are people like us via groups like this. It might be billions. It might be very small. It doesn't matter. This is your personal journey. There's the game board. Number 2 is there are real people here. We know that. 3, there is the Notnilc. There is the asshole dark, the plumber's ass crack. There's this thing that hangs over all the other component parts that are here that does not have your best interest in mind. Okay, we generally have been studying this for years. Let's continue and come back to it. There are the minions of the Notnilc. See, I separate that. Number 4, group 4, the minions. This is Melvin P. in the Belinda and Melvin P. Gates Foundation. This is Dr. E. 1 billion Amazon stock shares. There's all the minions, Lady Gaga. learned, somebody sent me an email about Beyonce, where there's the honeybees are very positive, but then there's the nasty bees. If you ever tweet or say something bad, they will come after you and all this stuff. I mean, there's the minions, and there's all different types. Of course, there's rock and roll singers and rappers and politicians and Tony Blair and Bono and Sonny Bono and George Bush and Henry Kissinger and all the minions. And in a way, as you go down the org chart, somebody that runs the Department of Motor Vehicles for the state of whatever, they're a minion of Notnilc as well. No, they're not evil. They think they're doing the best they can. They don't realize how they're serving it. The minions can even be your family. Anybody that bows down to it, that serves every system, that goes out of their way to push everything that Dr. F ever put forth 2 years ago is a minion. Doesn't mean they're evil. Most are not evil at all. Most don't know what they do. They don't even know what they're serving. They don't know how they're propagating what the Notnilc wants. And the last group is potential, like NPCs potentially. They're, what do you call people that aren't like you potentially, that don't have the spiritual ties and aren't minions, that aren't George Soros, They're just trying to work a job. And are they background people or organic portals? Or, see, I don't know how many NPCs exist versus real people. And again, I don't care to really dive into that. It doesn't matter in terms of our personal worry about yourself journey. So, but I have to, if I'm making a list of all the 5 elements of all the elements that possibly could be part of this Earth reality system, I have to include that as a possibility. Getting back to category 1 for a second, the natural world or game board. But before we do that, I'm looking at number 5 now, the NPCs. It could be, where do you put animals? Where do you put a whale or a gopher or a cheetah or an ostrich? They could be in group 5. It's possible. It doesn't really matter. Now we're getting into the weeds. Is that part of the natural world game board? Maybe they have I think any animal needs a soul of some kind. Soul to me is local. There's something that needs to start the car. There's something that needs to animate the animal. The flesh, the blood is not going to do it on its own. There needs to be a spark. I think that is, to me, that is soul, which is a bit different than spirit. So the animals and the gophers and the ants and the woodchucks, they could be with the NPCs. Matt, the woodchucks could be the same as my aunt and uncle. The woodchucks could be the same as your aunt and uncle with some sort of soul that's local to here. They don't got no rainbow bridge out of here. I ain't never going to... They hijacked the rainbow. That doesn't... I'm not going to never say it again just because they hijacked it, just because the minions hijacked the 33. I'm not going to skip that floor in my hotel either. I don't play that game. So, Matt, back to number 1, the game board. Who built it? Well, first of all, how the hell am I supposed to know? But the reason I bring it up, who cares? You want to believe your God built it? Fine. Who cares? We'll never know. We're not meant to know. We are here now. The powerful play goes on. There is a game board. Maybe an aspect of you build it. Who cares? Okay, it is here, and it's for exactly what's playing out now. This spiritual battle or this game. It's all by design. The truthers that come forth. Matt, it was all high. I'm not going to do the same thing. You've heard me a million times, but it's funny. It's hijacked. Everything was... Then we get into the same thing. Yeah, it was just lying around under fruit trees with lotion. It's not hijacked, in my opinion. It's all meant to be. Look how far you've come over the last 15 or 20 years. Or in some newer people, just 5 years. Look how far you've come. Are you the same person you were? No. The reality and what we're going through needed to happen so you could benefit in a way. And this is where the trolls latch in. Okay, oh, Matt's always making excuses for the Henry Kissingers of the world. You need assholes for this game to play out properly. What if Star Wars had no Darth Vader? You went to watch Star Wars. I wrote this in the book. I've probably mentioned it recently. It's become one of my favorite examples of all time. Those people in 1977, like me, went in to watch Star Wars, and there was no Darth Vader. It was just Luke dragging around water bottles with a damn C-3PO and a protocol droid. It was hour after hour of bullshit menial tasks on Tatooine. There was no bad guy. There was nothing to overcome. We were like, what the hell is... I want my money back. What the hell are we looking at here? George Lucas would have been thrown out on his ass. You need a bad guy. This reality, maybe not Star Wars, it needs a bad guy. And that's where the troll comments start. Oh, Matt's giving him he's taking him off the hook. Say what you want. It's limited thinking. Obviously, these assholes are here to fulfill a role. They're not as advanced as you are spiritually, as Tony tells me, which resonated with me immediately. He explained the difference between the types of incarnations, between you and someone like George Soros. Okay, they're way behind you. There's no doubt about that. It's one of my favorite topics of all time to talk about, and I love saying how they think, well, we're just saying that to make ourselves feel good. You can sense it. Every real person knows. I'm not telling you anything. You know it. Just like Darth Vader. What do you think all that stuff's in the original Star Wars for, and why is it being destroyed? Sense it, Luke. You know it to be true. Sense it, whoever's listening to me. You know George Soros is much lower than you spiritually. He's like a golem and a Schmeagol creature. You sense it, whoever's listening to me. You know it to be true. Of course it's true. I'm not just saying that to make ourselves feel good. So the 5 groups: 1, the natural world or game board; 2, real people like you and me; 3, the Notnilc, the slimy thing that hangs over the entire reality, tries to feed itself and make itself more up in your business like an egregore, and is constantly sucking energy. It uses its minions to do that. Does the minion level suck energy or use loosh in the same way? No, in my opinion, not in the same way. The minion level, which is group 4, I would say 99 point whatever percent knows not what they do, knows not what they serve. And even at the higher echelon, like I was use Rush Limbaugh as an example, he understood national politics was pretty much like World Wrestling Federation. But outside of his little bucket, he didn't understand how reality works. We know way more. Who's another, like Bono or something? Somebody that's at the higher levels. They understand their little niche, Melvin P. But in terms of how the reality works, or what even the Notnilc is, or what's really in that room behind the room that's in the shadows, that's behind the screen, they would have no idea what we're talking about. I think there's some here that know a whole lot more than we do, of course, but I'm just stressing, I think that is a tiny, tiny group. I don't think it's anybody you would ever see on television or parade themselves out like a clown, like Melvin P. You think anybody of any real power would put themselves on television or do an interview or be on the cover of a dumb magazine? Of course not. That is a low fiddlin' Ben's creature that would do that. Whatever the real power here is, that whatever maybe walks in a body that understands the Notnilc more than we do, that understands the screen, are they going to put themselves on a damn talk show? Or come on, man. It's so obvious that any of the, whatever you consider the highest of the darker side, this is like the definition of Satan, or the Satan, the adversary. It's 2 sentences, remember. It's just here. The role is to be the adversary for real. So here we go again. Let's do the one run-on sentence. So real spirits like me and you are distracted. So we have no idea who we really are. And we don't try to do what our spiritual selves want us to do in life. We get caught up like the fraternity brothers in the example, with all the bullshit. And the metaphor of, or the analogy of failing out, that's what most people do in this reality. They fail out, meaning they come here and they don't do a damn thing for their spiritual self, or whatever your religion is. You could say their God or their higher self. They don't do a darn thing. Now, the no consequences people don't think that's a problem. And hopefully no one can be, no real person can be spiritually schmiegeled down. But I don't, either way, I'm not going to take no chances. I feel compelled to do or to grow the best I can in terms of the tools that this reality gives me. If some no consequences people come along and say, I'm not, Matt, you can make any choice in the world and you can't be harmed spiritually. I hope that's true. I'm not going to then go out and try to, join up with Donnie Brasco. I'm going to do nothing different, because I feel compelled to do what I'm doing now. And it doesn't have to be like Nobel Prize or you're in the new Malala, whatever. It just in terms of like, I got a cat in the garage, stuff like that. I mean, my 25-year-old self wouldn't even recognize my dumb broke ass. My 25-year-old self, let me give you a glimpse, Matt McKinley, as you're driving in your U-Haul from, we rented a Penske truck from San Francisco, no, it was LA to San Francisco. That's when I told you, my cousin's driving my car, my Nissan 240SX. He gets it up to 80, whatever, I-5, 5.5 hours, straight up, straight shot, flat as a pancake, up to San Francisco. I told you, I go to slam down the accelerator, and there's a governor, a literal mechanical governor under the accelerator, that when the damn thing gets to 60, it pushes back on my foot. I said, you've got to be kidding me. 59 miles an hour to San Francisco in this heap of shit. People were passing us at 85, 90 miles an hour. I was like, this is horrible. All right, that time I'm going up to San Francisco. I'm 29 years old. Let's say some spiritual cop pulled me over. Some weird-ass white car. I've never said, I'm going to show you. It's like Don Cheadle in The Family Man. It's okay. Nick Cage, though, is terrible. I'm going to give you a glimpse, Matt. Here's a glimpse of yourself in the year 2019, where I really started to make some major changes of who I believe I am, or what I care about in life. Researching truth for many, many years before that, but I wasn't doing the back-end work. Yeah, researching what happened to the side of the Pentagon, but not doing the other part. And really, the other part is all that matters. Matt, let me give you a glimpse. So my 29-year-old self would look into the future and say, that ain't me. Come on, man, this is some sort of trick. Look at that dumb broke ass. That ain't me. That is not going to be me, man. I assure you. That 29-year-old self wouldn't recognize that my person. And that's one of the goals in life, to be the person that your 25-year-old self would not recognize, to evolve into the unrecognizable. In most cases, it's a devolution or de-evolution. Okay, the person has become the senior partner at the law firm, and they're successful, and they've got the 2 speedboats, and there was a sex act or 2 at the back of one of the speedboats, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they were on the cover of this magazine, and all the look. It's not just about money, but if you have ridiculous amounts of money, it's pretty. There's almost very, very few exceptions, in my opinion, that go hand in hand. I'm never going to go live in a cardboard box. I don't think we have to do that. But if you're a senior partner at a law firm and this and that, I mean, it's pretty, you could see it. So it would be almost impossible to be on some sort of worry about yourself spiritual journey, some of the things that we're trying to evolve ourselves into, and also running with that Notnilc lifestyle or keeping up with the Joneses at the same time. You know my take on that. I don't think we have to, like the kid in Into the Wild, burn our money and walk off into the woods. I don't think so. But I'm just saying, at some point, you have to start. One of the life missions is to cut ties from it. At some point, you have to not look back, that stuffed Lenin, and walk away. And the reality will show you the exact opposite. It'll show you a Bill Gates saying it was about 23 or 4 years ago in that that big Leslie Stahl 60 Minutes interview, where he promised that he would give all his money away. And Warren Buffett has said, I will give all my money away, but the Gates Foundation already exists, so it'll be through the Gates Foundation. It is a repeating theme where they keep saying they're going to give all their money away, and they give almost none of it away, or they do the absolute minimum through their bloated, disgusting charities. If the Gates Foundation was a real charity, it wouldn't be in a $300 million building. It would be in a warehouse that they put in maybe some nice carpet or something in Seattle. They can't break these rules. One of the rules here is none of these creatures could ever really do good with their money. They can never use their billions to really change the world for good. Even if they wanted to, it's a rule that it can't happen. It's the way oil and water can never mix. You can stare at it all you want. You can mix it up with a spoon. It will never mix. It's the same with this billionaire philanthropy. So it's a de-evolution as one gets super successful and buys houses and cars and boats and things like that. And again, it's not just about money, but you show me one person you show me one guy that's riding on the back of the 400,000 cigarette boat with a they don't even they idle, so they're so loud at idle it's almost they're ready to stall. You show me one person, oh yeah, quantum of conscience, oh yeah, I'm doing everything that guy says. I'm separating from it, I'm detaching. But you're on the back of a cigarette boat, dude. He's like, it ain't gonna happen. So, but you just don't. I don't think we have to be perfect. There's reasons every day. Your body gives you reasons that this reality is not about being perfect. All right, if anybody wants to hang out for the cat last part, you guys know I had 4 cats, and Zara and Fifi Addie are left. Puss in Boots, we got from the nursing home right with the COVID. They were kicked out from that. Pam got them. Bootsy started peeing all over Pam's place. She has, a townhouse carpet, and I had to take them. We couldn't put them down. And she peed all over my house. Wouldn't go in the box either. She learned to go on a trash bag. I had trash bags. Anyway, we've seen some of the old videos. Anyway, guys, they both died. Puss in Boots died 28 or 27 or 28 days apart, December into January of last year. So I get back to normal to a degree. I have 2 cats that actually use the litter box, and I'm enjoying this. It was so much work. So about a week ago, or a little less, this black and white cat, I went, oh no, please, no, Furl or whatever, a cat. And a few days later, I saw my neighbor. I said, have you seen this cat? He's like, yeah, I've seen it for a little longer than you have. He actually was feeding it. I always put water out anyway. I always put water out for whatever animal once there's no streams or lakes anywhere near here. It's kind of up on a hill. So, we gotta, why wait? We put the trap out, the Have a Heart trap, with some little chicken pieces, and the first night, boom, it's trapped. We got it from the Have a Heart trap into the larger, it's like a dog crate, but it's pretty small. And okay, now it's like, what do we do? It's a big difference if it's feral versus if it is from a domestic litter or in any way a quote domestic cat. There's huge differences in personality. If a cat is a true feral that was born feral and it was out in the woods for a year or so, it almost can't be domesticated. And for those that aren't experts at this, they can be nasty. I mean, nasty. They'll bite, they'll claw. So we're trying to determine now, my neighbor's like, look, just keep it in the cage. We can't take it. We're not going to have it put down. Let me just be clear on that. We'll take it to SPCA for the $45 or whatever, have it spayed and neutered. We will either let it back out here and we'll put a plastic box in and put some food and water, or we'll take it to another place where there's ferals, but it's as long as it's spayed and neutered, it can't reproduce. I don't know if I can take on another cat after all I've been through with Puss in Boots and the Four. I don't know if I can literally handle it. And we would have to determine again, it's not feral as well. We'll probably get the SPCA's advice on if it's feral just from the way it reacts. I think it's feral. When it was in the cage or the Have a Heart trap, it went nuts. It didn't hiss. It has hissed at me a few times since, but it just was banging back and forth, almost hurting itself trying to get out of the cage. Any cat that's at all domestic, I mean, it's not that they're going to want to cozy up to a human, but it's not going to be the end of the world when a human traps them. So I'm 90% sure it's feral and it's pretty young, about a year old. Where it came from, how it got here, I have, there's woods all over the place here. Again, it's real close to Exton, but up here on the hill here, there's just woods and I don't know, there's a lot of animals. There's a little deer crossing between my neighbor's house and my house, so I think it's feral, and that will kind of guide our decision. If I love tuxie cats, I love the black and white. Addie downstairs, Fifi Addie's a tuxie cat. I think their temperament is amazing. But my neighbor's like, look, you can't take it in till Tuesday. Just see if it starts, now if it's warm for the first time, it's well fed. You can see the kibble on the right there, the Friskies or whatever, the Purina. You throw the kibble in pieces and it eats the kibble off the floor. And there's no water in there now because I had to swap out. It peed. And of course it didn't, I was hoping it would pee in a little puddle and then be on the other side. So then I could pull the tray out. The tray slides out from underneath the cage. But no, it peed all over and it kind of like sat in it. This morning I removed the bricks. You can pull the tray out from underneath the cat, then hose the tray off, wipe it down, remove the pee, and insert the tray again. So, I didn't want to put the water back in until it was, and there's a heater you can't see that's blowing into it, that's drying it out, the cat, and drying out the cage. So, although luckily it's getting warmer here in Pennsylvania, I don't think the heater is going to be that necessary. But I'll put the water back in. I know you guys see there's no water there. It had water all night. So I don't know. I'll get your thoughts. If it's at all feral or you really can't take them in. It's guys, you trust me on this. It's just 95% of the time even if they would ever come around, it would take years. And I just went through that with Fifi Addy. I cannot go through that again. And I don't know if I can take 3 right now. I guess what we're favoring is to let it out here. And if we take turns and put kibble out and water in a little plastic box for it, I can live here. It's I guess better than having it put down. We'll make some sort of a box with a insulation liner with some plastic. The only thing I worry about there is, one of my neighbors has an outdoor cat, and it's a nice cat. I've taken care of it 100 times. I would hate for this kind of feral thing to go rip up that cat. And my other neighbor has 2 cats that are in the garage that can go outside. I'd hate for this cat to go mess with. The feral's always going to be meaner and nastier and able to beat up the other cats. So I don't know, but it's like, guys, I'm just rolling my eyes like it's just back to normal here and I'm going, oh no, I can't do another one, man. I can't do three. And if it's furl, nobody will take it, guys. I know cat lovers. Most cat lovers understand what a furl is, but some cat lovers that don't, you just trust me. You cannot put them in a home. They are just, if they're born outside, it's a different animal. Trust me, it's a different type of thing. It's not a cat, the way you know it. Anyway, I'll look to your comments. Thanks.